even though the Progressive Caucus is the largest, I think, in the entire party.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the deal. She's trying to say that, no, there's only 5 people that back AOC. 5 of these crazy progressives. When are you going to wake up? They are totally, completely opposed to progressive thought, comments, rationale, initiatives, issue. And these Pelosi types, we sat and listened in 2017 when the Democrats said, hey, it's too soon to go after Trump for any impeachable offenses. Now in 2018, they came back and said, wait a second, let's just wait for the election, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in 2019, Dem said, now let's wait for the Mueller report. We've waited 3 years for the Mueller report, and it was a limp That's all it was. We waited for a climax, and we got nothing. And the progressives are saying, you wait on the Democrats, you'll wait right into a 2020 celebration by Trump at Trump Towers. That's where you're headed, unless you get behind the progressive agenda.
Oh, exactly. This is just, it's beyond ridiculous, Jack. It really, really is.
What can we do about the unending Russiagate hoax addiction, which is still afflicting millions of Dems and will be responsible for the re-election of Trump?
Here's what we got, Jack. Let me tell you what we got.
Yeah.
You know that. That's when you know you're a loser on The Price is Right.
Exactly.
Well, right there's losers. Unbelievable stuff.
Anticlimactic is not even the best term.
Jack, I'm gonna go back because you know how much I love wrestling. I'm gonna go back to something the American Dream Dusty Rhodes said in 1987 when he got on TV and said, "Let's stop BSing the people in this country."
Yeah.
Right here it is.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Let me continue this New York Times article. Tanden rejected that characterization and asserted in an email to Shakir that the center shares the goals of unity. Where have we heard that before, Jack? Isn't that what we always got?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you can't be divisive. We need unity. We need to get Trump out of there. Well, then, you need to line up behind the front runner. Jodi Enda, the editor-in-chief of Think Progress, said that her website is editorially independent and that, quote, we don't have a favored candidate and we don't have a candidate who we disfavor. End of quote.
Look at the pictures of Bernie's rallies. The camera's not big enough. Why do you think those people gravitate to Bernie rallies? Because he's cute? Because he can speak 7 languages? Or he can French kiss his gay boyfriend? Which I have no complaints. He can kiss him all he wants. But they come to Bernie because of his issues. Plain and simple.
Yeah. It's the issues. It's not anything else, folks. Let me continue.
He stands up on the table in the bars. I've never seen Bernie stand up at the table down in Texas, have you? Probably couldn't climb up on the table.
Tanden's mother, Maya Tanden, says that her daughter, quote, can be very aggressive. She's not going to let anyone rule over her, and she has loyalty to Hillary because Hillary is the one who made her. Those Bernie brothers are attacking her all the time, but she lets them have it too. She says Sanders got a pass in 2016, but he's not getting a pass this time. End of quote. God, where do I even start there?
I am no
He got a pass.
Darren, no soothsayer. I'm not a prophet. I really am not talented with extrasensory perception in any way. But if you keep going down the same road, Democrats, you're going to have the same results.
Mm-hmm.
Darren alone sat here in Grand Rapids and said that Hillary could lose this deal.
Yep.
And I'm going to say it again. Whoever the candidate is, unless it's a Bernie Sanders, you're going to lose it again.
Yeah.
He will spit them up, chew them out. And I heard all these Petey Boy supporters saying, "Oh, he'll devour Trump in a debate." Oh, really? He'll look at Pete and say he's a lightweight. He's a nerd. That's all he has to say. He's not going to mentally wrangle with the so-called brilliant nominee. You want to see who can take Trump on and who he refuses to debate with? That's Bernie.
Yeah.
Bernie would take the hot rod of truth and stick it up the orange buffoon's butt. Yeah. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be spoken in a foreign language. That's what we need.
Do we need to go back to 2015? Do we? I've got the clip. Let's just play it. This is July 22nd, 2015. This is myself, Joe Elder, Jim Gerner, and Nathan Kettle talking about what was going to happen to Bernie. This is what Joe Elder predicted on July 22nd, 2015. If you haven't heard this, folks, take a good listen to this.
20-second response.
Go for
Number
it.
one, only have voted for one libertarian in my life. Number two, been extendedly disenfranchised by the Democratic Party, having grown up in a Democratic household and being consistently disappointed in their effort and consistently disappointed in the fact that they do not go after. Number one,
because they don't act like Republicans.
No.
Up at the highest levels of the Democratic Party and the federal government, yes, some of them act like Republicans. That is your only argument against the Democrats, is that they occasionally act like Republicans.
We will see. We will see. Last thing I'll say here, we'll see how good the Democratic Party is and how faithful and how fair they are and how illustriously better they are than all other parties when they screw Bernie Sanders over in his own Democratic caucus. You will see. We'll see. You guys will say that they won't, but you have a little pitter-patter in your heart knowing that will flip and happen, my friends, because it's a fixed game, and they both suck.
And if
both parties
and if they do
suck.
it at the highest levels of the federal government, yes, the Democrats do. Some of the Democrats do act like Republicans.
And if they do that to Bernie Sanders, you can guarantee I will be the first one to call them out by name and tell them what I think about them.
Yeah. Well, get ready because it'll happen.
And I was.
What year was that?
That
15?
was July 22nd, 2015.
Well, I was at a soccer game. No, a lacrosse game. And somebody came up to me and said, Bernie's going to run for president. What do you think of that? You think he's got a chance? I said, not unless you can completely shut down the mainstream media. He hasn't got a chance. And then I fast forward to remember when the Associated Press, the AP, prematurely put out that he had lost because the delegate count was such and such. I don't remember the numbers. Mm-hmm. The media made sure. And the media's not gone anyplace. I don't see the media's become progressive since then. So you tell me, he predicted, Joe Elder predicted that they were going to turn on Bernie, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to make a prediction now. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah.
They'll turn on him now in even more sophisticated fashion. Yeah. Here's a person that you want to read some excerpts.
Yeah, I got more.
To expect the party to change is foolish, devoid of historical record, and a waste of time. I posted that last week. A nice little Democrat responded back, Jack Prince, your attitude of what's the point is exactly what the parties are banking on. Get into action and make the change. I responded back, I was there fighting for progressives like Eugene McCarthy and McGovern probably before you were born. And that continued all the way through Jackson and in 2016, where it was the last straw. And I now believe progressive change will come from nonpartisan effort. And that alone may change the venal corporate party. Little Miss Democratic, nice little hat, didn't respond back to that. Mm-hmm. Her Democratic experience is the last 20 years, and it's all wrapped up in nice little limousine liberal sayings. There have been progressives gone down in flames one after another in the Democratic Party. It is proverbially the graveyard of progressive initiatives. And you haven't got time in this show to read them. They go on forever.
Yep. I want to continue this real quick for at least a little bit. This is a lengthy article. The Center for American Progress and its sister political arm, with a $60 million combined annual budget and 320 staff members, have played an outsized role in the Democratic Party for nearly 2 decades. Founded in 2003 by top advisors to Bill and Hillary Clinton, the organization has sought to rebrand itself as a brain trust for the anti-Trump resistance. Its donor rolls overlap substantially with those of the Clintons' campaigns and foundation. The think tank has taken in millions from interests often criticized by liberals, including Wall Street financiers, big banks, Silicon Valley titans, foreign governments, defense contractors, and the healthcare industry. Individual donors can ask to remain anonymous. Money to the Center for American Progress from the personal foundation of Facebook creator Mark Zuckerberg surged to $665,000 in 2018. You know what it was the year before that? Only $15,000. This was while Facebook fended off scrutiny for mishandling users' personal data, fueling violence, and providing a platform that, as they say here, for what they allege is Russian election interference, which we know the truth to that one, don't we, Jack? Yeah, right there is your Russian election interference. Total BS. Last year, the center got $1 million from the family foundation of Jonathan Levine, a managing partner at Bain Capital, and at least $1 million from the tech industry Silicon Valley Community Foundation. They also received $225,000 from the private foundation of Sam Walton Jr., Walmart. Gee, didn't Hillary work for Walmart at one point?
Brevity is the soul of humor, and brevity also works very simply. Folks, you're looking at Democrats Incorporated. We're talking about the corporation, just like the DNC told us. They're a private company. They'll put in this president who the hell they want to.
Jack, the Center for American Progress took $2.5 million total from 2016 until last year from the United Arab Emirates. They stopped taking the money after Jamal Khashoggi was murdered. Unbelievable. They take money from Israel. They invited Benjamin Netanyahu to a question and answer session at the center back in November 2015. When that happened, a dozen staff members stood during an all-staff meeting and read a statement of protest, which read in part, quote, "Our goal is to promote humanity and shut down oppression and genocide and terrorism. Bringing in another head of state with a record of oppression would further push our mission away." End of quote.
We can go back and tell you about other things we've said. We told you so. We pointed out way back, I don't know how long ago, that the same Saudi Arabia that was funding ISIS gave millions to Hillary Clinton. You know, the Hillary Clinton that's for women's rights took money from Saudi Arabia where a woman can't even show her lips in public.
Yeah.
And hypocrisy is incredible.
Let me read this here. Let me read this. This will tie it all together, Jack. In an email Ms. Tanden sent on the day of the Netanyahu visit, which, by the way, was released by WikiLeaks, she emailed the Center for American Progress founder, John Podesta. Mm-hmm. Here's what she wrote. Quote, "The far left hates me," end of quote. Why? Because she hosted Netanyahu. But she added that the invitation, quote, "may have sealed the deal with a new board member." You know who she was talking, and that's an end of quote. You know who she was talking about? Jonathan Levine of Bain Capital, who's a pro-Israel philanthropist. The next month, Tanden wrote a jubilant email to Podesta telling him Levine was joining the board. She said, quote, "so Netanyahu was worth it," end of quote. And she put a smiley face emoji on that email as well.
Far left? Far left? That would imply that you, Miss Tanden, are left, right? You're not left.
I think we've hit the end of this article. It does continue on, but I think you all get the gist now.
Anybody who's not bent over with Vaseline in their hand towards a corporate world is far left.
And let me tie it in with this article. This is published at commondreams.org. This is Jake Johnson. Senator Bernie Sanders' 2020 presidential campaign is rapidly gaining momentum early in the primary fight, and corporate Democrats are reportedly starting to get nervous. The New York Times reported Tuesday that political operative David Brock has discussed launching an anti-Sanders campaign with other Democratic strategists. He believes it should commence sooner rather than later. And he added this, quote, "the Bernie question comes up in every fundraising meeting I do," end of quote. This is just something. And you know who was in that dinner meeting? One of them was Chuck Schumer. And you know who else? Neera Tanden. So for Neera Tanden, for sliming actual true progressives for just being a complete corporate-owned suck-up, we have this message for you.